Hey guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So for my first video I will be making this blueberry crunch cake. Let's see, yeah. So the cake's really moist, the blueberries add like a bit of a juiciness, and there's a bit of lemon in there as well to kind of cut through the sugar, because the topping, the crunchy caramelly topping, is where it's all at. It kind of like balances out with the moist cake though, so I really do hope you give this a try, and let's just get right to it. So we're gonna start by creaming together the butter and the sugar. So I have 125 grams of butter here, unsalted. So I'm just gonna put that straight in the mixer. Then I have 140 grams of sugar, but what I'm gonna do before I put the sugar into the mixer, I'm gonna grate the lemon zest into the sugar. This way, once you grate it, it doesn't kind of stick together. I like to add the lemon zest to this recipe because I feel like the blueberries and the lemon go really well together. It kind of makes it a bit fresh. If you have a grater like my one, don't forget to scrape inside to get the zest out. So now I'm gonna pour the sugar as well into the mixer with the butter, and I'm gonna put this on a medium high speed for about 5 minutes. So you want the butter and the sugar to be well incorporated and for it to go quite light in color. Would have helped if I turned it on. In the meantime, we can prepare our cake tins. So I have about a tablespoon of butter here and a pastry brush, and I'm just going to brush the butter all around the cake tin, and then we're gonna cover the flour. So you have to make sure the butter is covering every inch of the tin, otherwise there will be nothing for the flour to stick to. So I'm using two small cake tins here because I like to make this cake into like small slices. This cake also works if you have a just one deeper dish. Okay, so now that we have our tins greased, I'm just gonna pour about 1 tablespoon of flour into the dish and just kind of tap the flour around the dish. What you should have is a greased and floured tin like this. Okay, so we'll do the same for the other. Now we have our 2 lined tins. So we'll set those aside for now and continue with the cake. So this is what your butter and sugar should look like once it has been creaming for about 5 minutes. It should be very pale in color and everything should be incorporated. We're going to add our dry ingredients together. I have 240 grams of plain flour here. To the flour, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I'm going to add a pinch of salt, and then I'm just going to mix that up. So I find if you mix the baking powder and the flour together before you add it into the mixer, it stops your cake from rising unevenly. What we're going to do now is we're going to add the eggs and the vanilla to the mixer. So I'm just going to put it on a low speed and just add eggs slowly. Add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract after the eggs. You can really smell the lemon zest from the butter and the sugar being whipped together. Oh, it smells so good. So we have some butter and sugar sticking to the sides. So if you're seeing this, just turn the mixer off, get a spatula and mix. if you're finding that once you add the eggs that it starts to curdle, don't worry, it's fine. Once you add the flour, everything will be okay. So I'm now going to add the flour and the milk a little bit at a time, alternating between the two. You don't want to overmix this up once you start adding the flour, because you don't want to get rid of any of that air that you've incorporated. You turn the mixer off. Scrape down. This is a great time to just mix by hand. Once we've taken the bowl out of the mixer, we're just going to scrape down the sides of the bowl and incorporate any of this extra flour, and just check at the bottom, make sure that there's no clumps of flour at the bottom either. So now that everything is well incorporated, we are going to add the blueberries. We just need to add the blueberries and mix by hand, because if you use the mixer, the blueberries will just break up and it will get all juicy in there, and it's not exactly what you want. You want the blueberries to stay whole, so there's just going to be blueberry juice all over the place. So I'm just gonna add these to the bowl. Just mix until they are incorporated. Again, making sure not to over mix. Okay, I'm just gonna get my cake tins and divide the batter between the two tins. So this is quite a flat mixture, so sometimes it doesn't always coat the whole bottom of my tins, but once it bakes it will kind of spread out and it'll be fine. Now we can make our crumb, which is going to go on the top, which is what makes this cake really special. Sorry, I keep looking like in the display instead of the camera. This is my first try, it's my first video, so just bear with me. If there's any videos that you would like to see me make, please let me know in the comments, because I really enjoy making cooking videos. I started when I was at uni and used to make videos on my Snapchat to like help my friends, and then I did it on Instagram for a bit, and now I'm trying this. So please let me know if there's any things you'd like to see me make. So now we can make the crumb topping, which is going to go over the cake before it goes in the oven. So I have 120 grams of flour here, and I am going to add 100 grams of light brown sugar. Just set this to 0. So that's 100 grams of light brown sugar, and then I have 120 grams of butter. So I'm just gonna mix this in. So I'm just gonna mix the sugar and the flour together first. Don't need this anymore. I like to use light brown sugar because it kind of gives the crumb a caramel kind of flavor. Now I'm going to cut the butter into little cubes before I add it to the flour. So I'm going to add the butter to the flour. So this is when you have to get your hands dirty. So make a crumb. So you want to just use your fingertips. You want to just use your fingertips and kind of press the sugar into the butter, if that makes sense. You don't want to use the palms of your hands because there's a lot of heat in the palms of your hands, and the butter will just start to melt and it won't really look like a crumb. It will kind of look a bit like paste if the butter starts to melt too much. And this is what you're looking for. So it should look like the top of maybe like an apple crumble. See? Okay. You want some big crumbs, you want some small crumbs, because that's what gives it more of like a rusticy look when it comes out the oven. I'm just going to pour some of the crumb over the cake most of the time when I make this, I don't end up using the whole crumb because for me it gets a bit too sweet, but there's enough here depending on how sweet you like your cakes. So if you want them really sweet, just add some more. Okay, so I'm just gonna pour this over the top. You don't want to forget the corners. Oh, sorry. Still figuring out these angles. Okay, so see? So I'm just gonna pour it. As the cake rises as well, some of it will kind of like rise and separate and crack, which is kind of what you want. Let's see. So this cake is actually quite easy, but when it comes out of the oven, you will see it will look amazing. If you're making these in a deeper dish, so if you're just gonna put the whole mixture in one deeper dish, then maybe I would say check it at 35 minutes, but it could take up to 45 minutes to bake. I'm just gonna put these in the oven now at 170 degrees for 25 minutes and then check them. And then if they need an extra 5 minutes, then leave them in there for an extra 5 minutes and we'll see. So this is what they look like. Put them in the oven on the middle shelf. Don't forget that. So I still have a bit of my, say maybe like 2 tablespoons of my crumb mixture left. So, I mean, even if you wanted to make little cupcakes, you could put this on top of some cupcakes. It'll be a really nice. So now the cakes are done. They were in the oven for about 25 minutes. So I just stuck a knife in to check that they were done and took them straight out. So as you can see, they're nice and golden on the top. And this bit here, like if you can see this is the crispy caramel. So you just have to wait for it to cool down and then the crispy topping will harden and then it will be ready to eat. Hi guys, I just want to say thank you for watching my first video and I really hope you do try this. If you do, please let me know in the comments section and give this video a like. If you'd like to see more, please do subscribe because it really does help me out. And I'll see you in the next one.